Well, they see what they see what. They got that shit for you. They got to get everybody tonight.
Black and ball, you a genius, you
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome out to another episode of According To Kaz Queen. And as always, I'm Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
And thank you guys for joining us once again on this little podcast of ours. These are conversations that happen between a husband and wife in the privacy of our own home that we bring to you guys, sometimes to make you laugh, sometimes to make you think, to be introspective. But most of all, we want to open the lines of communication up for you. As always, we are on all streaming services. Y'all know the drill by now. All of our faithful listeners and all of our faithful watchers, you know the drill. We're on all streaming services, including, all right, and especially Black with No Chaser, all right, blackwithnochaser.com, Black with No Chaser Radio. So you can go to the Google Play Store, you can go to the iTunes Store, and you can get the Black with No Chaser Radio app. That's BWNC Radio app. That's BWNC Radio app. Make sure you check us out on Black with No Chaser every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. A lot of great broadcasts are coming through on that channel, and a lot of great podcasts are coming through as well. All right, so make sure that you do that. And if you like watching our bright, shiny faces as you do, all you got to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are inching closer to 800 subscribers, on our way to 1,000. We are trying to monetize this page, y'all. So when y'all hear this, please subscribe. Tell a friend to subscribe. Turn on the notifications, like and share, all of that good stuff. Bam. Right there. All right. Go to that channel right there. Click on it. Subscribe. Like it. And turn on the notifications, and you will be ready anytime According to Kaz Queen drops on this channel, or any of the great content. There's a lot of great content on there, man. We talk life, we talk current events, we talk politics, we talk good things. So make sure that you are subscribing to that channel. And of course, this is brought to you by the Kundi Collection, the clothing line of myself and my bride. We have designs for any state of mind. All right. This is a great way for you to express your blackness to the world. All right. www.kundicollective.com. www.kundicollective.com. Got another great shirt on here. Shouts out to all of the fathers. All right. Father's Day is coming up, by the way. So, yeah. Get you one of these.
Go to www. Make you wear that again.
Yeah.
For Father's Day.
www.kundicollective.com. Make sure you do that. All right. So we have our event coming up this weekend. For those of you that are listening, we talk about this event that we do every year. It's called Love and Life. This is the 11th installment of this event. It's that time of the year when we get folks together and we talk about all aspects of love and life. Hopefully, you know, that will be broadcasting live from our YouTube channel as we did on last year. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you will be able to hear this panel discussion live. We have people that are divorced. We have dating, single, it's complicated, newlyweds, divorced. We have, all spectrums of love and life and dating and sex and all of that thing.
Regular people.
Yeah. It's regular talk by regular people. These are not, celebrities. These are regular everyday people with.
Well, they do celebrities.
Well, yeah. For Jackson, they are
Jacktown celebrities.
Jacktown celebrities. But, all aspects of that spectrum, we have real conversations. These are people that have had real lives, that have had real conflict, real challenges in their relationships and in their dating life, and they talk about it. So a lot of times people think the things that they're going through are just singular to them.
Yeah.
But in actuality, these things are happening to a lot of people. And these people already know right off top that, this panel is going to be open and honest. And it's always a good time, man. So if you are in the Central Mississippi area, come and check us out. Love and Life 11 will be at the Synergy Link. All right. It's 135 Bound Street in Jackson, Mississippi. But you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're someplace else in the state or in the country or in the world watching us right now, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel and you'll be able to watch the panel and you'll be able to ask questions and leave comments in real time. So make sure that you join us. So on the theme.
And admission is free.
Yes, and the admission is free. So we're going to talk about, some of the experiences that we've had on the panel. I think the theme of today's podcast is going to be, love and life and relationships and all of the aspects of that spectrum that exists. The first thing I want to talk about, of course, I sent you this story about the soccer player that is getting divorced. And the wife, of course, he makes millions of dollars and, they call it football in Europe, but of course it's soccer to us. American football is a different thing. He's getting divorced. His wife was attempting to get half of his assets, of course, because he's a world famous soccer player, makes millions of dollars, and come to find out that all of his assets are in his mother's name. And when he wants to buy things, he goes to his mother to get them, and he gives himself an allowance. And so he has nothing in his name. So in actuality, he has no assets. So there is nothing that she can get half of when she leaves. And of course, this had social media in an uproar. I have my thoughts on it here. I think it's kind of weird, but you said got him. So that means that you felt like he was being pretty savvy in what he was doing.
Oh, yeah,
so
is
this a practice that you would suggest to rich and famous men going forward?
No, I mean, I don't think that there is, if you have doubts about whether or not there is some sort of actual significant connection, sure. You never know what you're getting when you got that much money. So it seems like he was real savvy and smart in what he was doing. But on the other hand, I think the reason why she's divorcing him is because of some allegations of him doing some inappropriate things.
Right.
So I hope that's not indication that he that's his character. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows that he does some real shady stuff. So let me marry this woman and have this woman, be my wife while I trick off.
Usually people who, do bullshit know that they do bullshit and they prepare themselves for the inevitability of getting called out on said bullshit. So maybe he is a habitual line stepper.
Because at first she was trying to work with it. She had its back. So obviously something happened to the point to where she couldn't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just seems like it might be something that men with money who want to protect their assets would do. But now they've set a precedent. So, if you got the chicks out there that would do that, or who would, and by do that, what I mean is who get married to men with money with an intentional, selfish reason for doing it instead of anything other than love, like for the come up. You actually, that's a real thing. You actually have to, all right?
Good.
You actually have to look out for that, So on the one hand, you got to give it up to him for being savvy. But on the other hand, that could speak to his character as well.
So here's my take on it, because of course you had a lot of the, the hoteps and the super machismo guys who, already have a very low regard for women. Of course they were cheering and saying this is great. First of all, to a lot of you guys out there.
Maybe I'm a hotep.
Nah, I don't think you are. Are you?
I don't know.
No, you're not.
I don't know.
You're not. But, the first thing is, for most of you gentlemen out there, this is not going to be a problem for you because you don't have anything. There's that, first of all. So, and that would be myself included. You know what you got when you married me. You know what was happening.
It's only effective if you got millions.
Yes. If you got millions and, you've got generational type wealth, it's only effective. If that's the case, it's really only effective in that instance. But, outside of that, also at the same time, you should really be aware of the person that you are dating and getting ready to marry. I think that's a very important aspect of this entire thing. I think that, if you're going to get married, make sure that you're doing it and you're doing it right. And if you're going into this particular situation and you feel like you have to do something like this, in my opinion, you should, pretty much rethink the whole thing all the way through. If you're going into the marriage with the thought process that I have to hide all of my assets in the event, because you are basically saying that it's inevitable at some point that this person is going to want to leave me. That's and true. They're going to try to get half of what I have. If you are going into it with that thought process, I always thought it was weird. I don't, if you want to sign a prenuptial agreement, that's cool. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's great. But at the end of the day, outside of that agreement that, we're going to leave or whatever we came into this marriage with, like if you have done the due diligence to put all of your assets in your mother's name, you're preparing for something like this to happen.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know if he's been hurt before or if he had some sort of inkling about this particular woman that he married, but surely he was protecting his assets for some reason. Like he really felt like regardless of what decisions happened in his marriage, right, he wanted to protect what he came into the marriage with.
I mean, which is fair at the end of the day, and I guess there are other ways to do it for me. But it's just wild because, a lot of people see this guy as a smart guy, and I see him as a guy that's a grown man that has to go to his mother and ask her permission to be able to spend his own money.
Oh, I don't see that at all.
That's how, I mean, it's his money. Kind of how I feel.
He's just telling her what he wants her to do with it.
But
it's not like he's asking her, can he spend it? He's just saying, go buy this boat. Instead of, you know what I'm saying? He's not saying, Mama, can I have a boat?
If you're putting it in your mother's name, your mother is going to have power of attorney over your money. And she's going to have the wherewithal to be able to spend your money. And in a sense, when he's saying go buy this stuff, he's still having to ask her permission to do it.
No,
she's still having to go do it. She's still the person that's having to purchase it, because if you're going to make sure that her name is on all of your valuable things, when she makes those purchases, her name has to be on them. So she has to go make
If my son had millions of dollars and he wanted me to be the person to hold those dollars for him for whatever reason, and I agreed, I'm pretty sure that whatever I need, he's taken care of. So it's not really like he is. So when he comes to me and says, Mom, I want to buy this car, go up here and get this car. And like, that's not him saying, do you think I should get the car? Mom, can I buy the car? That's him saying, go get the car. You got the money. And I'm pretty sure that she's well taken care of for her efforts.
I'm sure. It just seems like to me, it's a lot to try to protect your money when you can just protect your money on the front end by marrying someone that you don't have to worry about doing.
You don't know these days what these chicks be on. You don't know.
Crazy.
You don't have no idea.
Crazy.
It doesn't sound crazy. It just sounds, rom-com-ish. Like that's not.
What's crazier
real life.
to me is that there are a lot of guys who it would be a mistake for them to put their assets in their mother's name and give their mother control of their monies, because that would turn out bad for a lot of people.
Because the mother would spend their money?
Yes. There are a lot of athletes and there are a lot of people, I'm sure, with money that may not be able to trust their moms with their money.
Well, clearly that's not an issue for him.
No, it's not an issue for him. But I just couldn't, God rest her soul. I love my mother. And I know
your mama would have been excellent at being the mother to, and she's not controlling. That's not what I got from it. I didn't get that she was controlling his money. Mm-hmm. I just got that she was the person whose name he put everything that he bought in. She's just on paper.
For me as a man, it's difficult for me to fathom having to go to someone else and dictate to them what I want them to do with my money, or in a sense to ask for permission or get them. She has to sign off on whatever purchases are made. She's got to sign off on it, even though he's making it. She gives him an allowance. He takes an allowance for himself out of that, gives her the rest of it. And when he wants to buy something, she buys it so that it's in her name. So basically, she's going to do it, but at the end of the day, she's the person that's signing. So she is still in control of his money as it goes.
I suppose. I mean, I can understand what you're saying, but I'm pretty sure if he was thoughtful enough to make this happen on behalf of saving his assets from his wife, I'm pretty sure that he's worked it out enough with his mama to be able to not have those issues.
And he probably doesn't. When I heard it, like I said, there were a lot of guys who was like, "Oh, this guy's smart. You know, he's the model. He's the prototype." Just to me, it wasn't a celebratory thing. To me, it sounded like a grown man who has to ask his mama permission to use his money. And
I didn't get that at all. But what I did get was that he seemed shady, because if you are thoughtful enough to hide your money or to,
you
not
already know it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, you know it's going to be a problem, and you don't trust this woman that you've married. So on that regard, why get married?
So the question is then, since we're talking about love and life, the question is then, how honest should you be with your partner about your finances and what you have saved up, savings and money and those things when you get married? Is that, one of those issues where, you should always keep one eye on your money and one eye on the situation type thing, where I don't divulge everything? What are your thoughts on that?
We don't divulge everything.
We don't?
Do we?
We don't?
Baby, I have no idea how much money you have. I've never known how much money you have.
Much money
I know
have?
when you don't have money, but I don't ever know how much money you have.
I told you how much money I
don't
make.
know how much money you make.
We just had a discussion about this a couple of days ago.
I know how much. Yeah, I know how much money pertaining to that conversation that you could make, but I don't know how much you do make. We don't even discuss that, and it's not necessary for me to know.
I mean, it kind of is.
Is it?
Kind of.
Why?
Because those are things that we should, at least have an idea of.
I guess.
But coming into the marriage, going back to when we first got married, going back 13 years when we first married, if I had told you that we're going to sign a prenup, or if you had found at some point during our marriage that all of my assets were in my mother's name.
Oh, now that would be a problem. That would be a problem if I found out after we got married that all of your assets was in your mama's name. That would be a problem.
Okay.
Now, if you told me beforehand, I don't know if it would be as much of a problem as it would be if you told me after we were married. But not necessarily because of me wanting to have access to your money as much as it is, why did you feel like you needed to hide that from me?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the hiding of it.
That's the biggest issue.
That's the biggest issue. What if I had said, you're going to have to sign this prenup?
I would have said,
now, okay, let me
what you got?
Let me preface this by saying, first of all, okay, that's a hypothetical situation.
What you prenupping for?
Hold on, man. Hold on. A hypothetical situation where I came into the marriage with much more money. We know that was not the case. I came into the marriage with face and ass.
I'll be honest with you. I see that there are sides on both sides of this argument. I really understand people's positions on both sides. But as it relates to me as an individual, if the prenup said that we both depart with whatever we came into the marriage with and whatever we acquired together, that we split 50-50, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah. I mean,
because
that's fair.
I'm not going to be the person that is in this marriage and not building something on my own anyway. So I'm not finna be just your wife and that's it. Like I'm still a person who has aspirations and dreams, who's building an empire with you. So whatever you acquire and we acquire together, as long as we can do a 50-50 split, what you brought in, you take with you. What I brought in, I'm just as valuable coming into the marriage as you are.
So you don't have a problem with the prenup thing at all whatsoever?
Not if it's just like that. You know, prenups vary sometimes. Yeah. But if it's the prenup that I just described, no, I wouldn't have a problem
just
with
leaving equally whatever we bought, we split amicably down the middle.
If I leave with what I brought in, I'd be okay with that. And if whatever we acquired together, we split down the middle, I'd be okay with that too. That would be my only stipulation. Like, you can't get no more than me and I can't get no more than you. Let's just chop that thing straight up and down the middle.
But you would have a problem if you found out at some point. You definitely would have a problem if we were at the divorce proceedings and you found out that those assets were in somebody else's name. You definitely have an issue with that.
Yes, but
you be got
not
at that
because
point, but
you got me, because you lied to me. The lying part would be the biggest issue.
Which,
for me.
if I had to do, then why even get married in the first place?
I agree.
Is my point. So
I agree. If
she's just now finding out that these assets were in his mother's name, that means that this conversation never came up, or either he lied about it.
What it means is that he doubted the longevity of the marriage to begin with. When we got married, we vowed forever. Like, it's forever for us. Whatever it is, we just gonna work through it.
Yeah.
No matter how big, small, we're working through it. That was our mindset. People get married today without thinking about forever. They get married thinking about right now.
They get married thinking that there is
something in it for them.
No,
yeah.
that I have an out.
Yeah.
They get married thinking that if this does not work out, I was actually talking to someone the other day that was telling me about their first marriage, coming from a very religious background, and really kind of sticking to the tenements and the verses that exist in the word and the scripture, as they call it. And they felt like divorce was a sin. And they felt like, if you divorce, you will not be going to heaven, that you're going to hell if you get divorced. And that kept them in a marriage longer than they should have been in a particular marriage.
That's so unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. But, these days, people do go into these marriages knowing that there is an out.
Yeah.
And they operate like there's an out.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, is different than how we have approached our marriage. But, this soccer player went into this marriage, knowing that there was going to be an out at some point. And an out for me is structuring this so that my mother has control of all of my assets. And to me,
saying she has control over his assets is really that's
what it is.
I don't know. I mean, you're putting a lot of oomph on that part, and it's really not about that.
Anybody else?
He's not doing it, giving his mama control. He's doing it.
But she has it. She has the ability, without his knowledge and without his consent. She has the ability to spend his money. That's like
obviously he doesn't mind her spending it. Or he's giving her enough to where she doesn't need to go into his money.
Maybe she's trustworthy enough to not go in and do it.
If he's the kind of person that watches his money enough to know he needs to protect it from his wife, he's probably not going to give it to his mama unless he trusts her to be able to handle it.
And I suppose he does. I mean, there are people who trust their moms implicitly. I don't, Again,
your mama would have been like, nah, you don't need that. And then that's why you feel that way, because she wouldn't just willy-nilly be just, but
when it's about my skrill, I don't know, outside of you, I don't know a lot of people.
Keep it real. Not even me.
And you're on a thin thread.
Not even me.
Yourself. But no, seriously.
Nah, baby.
No. Come on. When we are doing events, what if people told you about the money when we've done events? What have I told them to do? If they don't find me, what have I told them to do?
Oh, you mean like at an event if they trying to give you money?
Because you're finna get caught up right now.
That's not the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing. I trust you with my money.
the money that somebody is bringing you for a drink?
No, Negro. I'm
Like
talking
somebody
about
paying
we're
for
doing
something?
an event, and when the event is over with, the money from the door, they're bringing it to me.
And you
And
say,
I
go
said,
give it to my wife.
and if you can't find me, the only person that you give this money to is.
Oh, yeah, you've done that.
And
yeah.
you've done that.
Yeah.
You've done it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Absolutely.
Okay, then.
No doubt about
So
it.
why are you saying that I don't trust you with my money?
No, you were saying something else about.
No, I was saying that.
Okay. Point taken. Touche. Touche. That's true. We do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as I said, outside of you, when it comes to my money, there's not a lot of trust for other people outside of you,
Yeah.
which is kind of how that should be.
If my mother was still here, I would have no problem with her handling my money. If for some reason I needed to put something in her name to protect myself, I would not even think twice about it and know that she's going to do it. And if I needed her to make a move or do something with my money, I trust wholeheartedly that she would do it. In fact, I trust all my siblings to do the same thing.
Yes. Okay.
So it's probably just a matter of the experience you have with your family members.
And it's not that I don't love my siblings.
Oh, this ain't got
and
nothing
my
to do with
family.
love.
Yeah, this is.
This is about responsibility.
You guys know I've been, I was in the music business for 15, 16, 17 years, still dabble in here and there. And I just, I operate on a
Well,
different
you've
plane.
been traumatized by people messing over your money.
Yes.
So
I've
that's
been traumatized by family
understandable.
members messing over my money.
Well, that hadn't been my experience.
Yeah.
And it's probably not this guy's experience.
That's true. I get that. Indeed. But yeah, I don't, we'll see how this ends up. I just thought that it was weird, but it's one, level of the spectrum of love and life. Another conversation that we were having that I thought was interesting, and I was like, immediately, we've got to talk about this on the next podcast.
You was like,
because I couldn't believe it. We got to talk about it. So we were watching the latest episode of Bel Air. For those of you, if you are not aware, there is a dramatic interpretation, of course, of Will Smith's Fresh Prince of Bel Air that is on the Peacock network right now. So it's kind of like a dramatic turn with all of the characters in it. It's a really good show. It's in season 2, as a matter of fact. So we just watched this week's episode that I like to coin as Carlton's cocaine binge. Is what I like to call this episode, because that's basically what it was. But at any rate, there was an instance on this show, of course. Ashley and Jazz have broken up.
Hillary.
I'm sorry. Hillary and Jazz have broken up. Jazz could not handle the fact that Hillary had this ex-boyfriend who is a star NFL wide receiver. Of course, his self-esteem was crushed. He didn't think that he could compete, and he decided to break up with Hillary. It was not her choice. It was his choice.
She broke up with him.
Because he couldn't handle.
Yes.
So basically,
it wasn't
he did
his choice. She broke up with him based on his inability, his insecurity.
Yeah. So it was his fault.
Yes.
Yeah. That's bad. Okay.
But he didn't break up with her. She broke up with him.
She broke it off with him because of his inability to handle the situation.
Correct.
They're not together. So in this episode, Hillary was lamenting, of course, only momentarily over them breaking up, because immediately she called up the ex-boyfriend, under the auspices of doing business. Mm-hmm. Which I said from the beginning was a farce, but, we'll go with it was business. We'll go with that. We'll go with it. But at any rate, she calls him up on business. And then, of course, as he said in a couple of the last episodes, he said that, it is my aim to get her back. and he professed his love for her at the top of, somewhere, a hill or on the balcony of a hotel or wherever at his house, looking down on this billboard that he had
gifted her
with, after she first asked him for it. I guess within a couple of days, she had a billboard up. And
she mentioned that she wanted one.
Yeah, and he professed his love for her. And at that point, it was that I said to myself, like, but what about Jazz? You really love Jazz. You don't really love this dude. And my wife basically said that she would be crazy to go back with Jazz when she has this football player who loves her, or this football player who wants her and is willing to give her the world instantly. And I said, well, baby, what about love? She really loves Jazz and Jazz loves her. Well, she was like, you basically said Jazz didn't have a chance. He didn't have a snowball's chance in hell. If the two of them were in a competition for Hillary's love, she said that Jazz would lose.
No.
That's what you said.
No.
Okay.
No.
What'd you say?
Hillary probably would choose him, but it would be a limited life experience decision.
Explain what that is then.
So basically what I'm saying is, at her age, the age that Hillary is now, she probably would choose love. It would be a mistake, but she probably would choose love. When you get more seasoned in life, you start understanding that love is a beautiful thing. But for long term or marriage, it's not enough. It's a beautiful starting point.
I disagree.
But it is absolutely not enough.
I disagree.
Especially if you have a choice. If you got a choice, she got a business she's trying to start up, he can help her with, that he's willing to help her with. She come from money, so she doesn't necessarily have to choose him for that reason. But she's trying to make this business.
She doesn't come from that kind of money.
On her own. She could still get help from her parents, but she's trying to make the business pop on her own. He already loves her. He's in love with her. I believe that when you love someone and you respect someone and you admire someone, if they don't have, well, not love, but if you have respect for someone and you have admiration for who they are and you can honor their character, love is going to come anyway. So picking Jazz would be 20 more years of struggle, maybe. Could be. You can go this other route with this other guy who you have feelings for or had feelings for before, who is more stable and can provide more of a lifestyle that does not involve struggle. So
as long as he is successful at what he does.
Well, if he doesn't ever do anything else again, if they're smart, they can make what he has right now work for them.
Possibly. In the real world, there are scenarios that exist where we have had millionaire athletes who have gone broke and have gotten hurt and couldn't play football anymore and lost all of their money, or had an accountant that took their money. There, we know of instances of this happening.
Sure.
We know of entertainers, and all of this is happening. So what happens in that instance? If he hurts his knee, something happens, he makes a bad business deal, and then he ends up not having any money, then what happens? And these are all hypothetical situations, but then what happens? There's no love there. You initially got with him.
No. What I'm saying is that it's not just love. She does have love for him, clearly.
Yeah,
but it's not just love. What she has for Jazz is just love.
And you're saying
he can't offer her anything else but love.
I mean, he owns a record shop. Who knows if those record shops don't turn into a chain of record shops? He's a small business owner.
And at their age, they can build. They can make things pop. At 50, you ain't trying to still be building.
I mean, of course
Or
not.
40. So as I stated to start this off, at her age, it makes sense to do that.
So what you're saying is that you don't feel, if it came down to a competition between Jazz and this football player for Hillary's affections, you're saying that Jazz does not stand a chance. Is that what you're saying?
No,
you
that's
said
not
he,
what
you
I'm
said
saying.
he didn't stand a chance.
I said she probably will pick him, but it's not the smartest decision. You know,
You didn't say
when
that Jazz didn't stand a chance.
I did, but that's not what I meant. I mean, you taking it as I'm saying that he don't stand a chance because he ain't got no money. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is he doesn't stand a chance because he doesn't have, this guy has way more to offer her for a future than what Jazz has right now.
Based on
Right now. Based on what he has right now.
because he plays in the NFL and he has this money, he is in a position now to offer her more for her future than Jazz.
Yes.
Okay.
And at some point, that's going to be important. And then when you just have love and you don't have anything stable, anything else stable, and you have the opportunity to have had that, one day that's going to kick in. It's not going to be as pretty and lovely and as rosy as it is right now with Jazz. When you think about the fact that you could have had this and you could have had that and you could have did this, but I chose you and you ain't doing nothing. We know what Jazz going to do. He going to get kicked out of Uncle Phil's house. Gonna throw him out.
That was on the comedy show. They have not reenacted that on the drama
I'm waiting
yet.
on it. I'm waiting on it.
I wonder if they're going to do that.
They
because
gotta
it's
do it.
only, they have to actually show Jazz.
They gotta do it at least once.
He's got to dive out of the door.
He got to do it at least once. I'd be okay if they just intimated that it happened. Just touch on it.
Maybe. So, love is not enough. We're talking about love and life.
It's a good starting point, but it ain't
love
enough.
is not enough. Love is not enough.
Love goes and comes.
To be married.
Love goes and comes.
Forever.
And
It's
people
not enough.
change. People grow. They go in different directions. Sometimes if you have love and nothing else, that's sometimes hard to do. And
Were you not being courted by other men with more means than me when I began courting you?
Yes. What is your point, sir?
Okay. I won. And here we are.
Yes. But
So explain
I
yourself.
also admired you. I also had respect for you. And I also honored you.
All those things that Hillary does for Jazz, all of those. She respects him. She honors him.
Let me tell you something.
Oh,
I
boy.
was also around the same age as Hillary was.
Uh-huh.
If I was presented with that same scenario today
Watch yourself.
at 48,
Watch it. Watch yourself.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't make the same decision.
So I wouldn't be here. This wouldn't be me.
You
sitting
would
in
be
chair
the
right now.
person that I'd be with, but you'd be further along in your career and in a different position.
But what if I wasn't? I'm talking about the position that I was in when I started
I
courting.
didn't prepare for this one well.
Oh, you didn't. I catch you off guard every week, baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what now?
You need me to repeat the question?
Is there a question?
Yes.
What's the question?
I said you were being courted by men of better means than me at the time when I started courting you. I'm
Baby,
here
you
now.
different. You different, baby. You different. And we're not talking about us. We're talking about Hillary and Jazz.
No, we talking about us now. Now we talking about us. Because you said Jazz doesn't stand. It rang so deeply into my psyche when I heard it. You said Jazz does not stand a chance.
That's not really what I said. I said
Yes.
forget love
It
is
is.
what I said.
Okay. That's even worse
No,
than
it's
what you
not.
said at first. It's
I'm
even worse.
basically saying love is great to build a foundation, but it's not enough. You need more than love to make something last forever.
All right, so listen. So I'm going back to my previous question that I have not gotten an answer to. You were being courted by men of better means than me at the time. And I won out. I'm here now.
Yeah, you are.
I'm here now.
You
This
are.
is 13 years of marriage and then a previous 8 before our breakup. So we're talking about
You
20
offered
how-
other
I was at
things.
13,
You
just
offered
20,
other things
21,
that were more
21 years.
significant to me at the time than those people did.
Which were what? You're just saying things out of your mouth and you're not following up on them. I am challenging you to give me the answers.
Baby,
You
there
can't
were
just
a lot of things.
You're just saying things.
There are a lot of things.
Okay.
There,
Yes. What were they?
you were hot, very hot. I was.
So you found me hot. You
I
were
found you
sexually
hot.
attractive.
I was sexually attracted to you.
So it takes love and sexual attraction. Those are two things you got to check off the box right there.
Yes, and you were exciting.
I don't know if you can count that.
You can when the people that were trying to talk to me at the time were not exciting.
Okay.
So
They had better means than I had, but they were not exciting.
yeah, so they brought because it wasn't a whole bunch. He brought
It was
to
other-
the
it was other
table.
dudes trying to talk to you. Don't tell me that one.
He
guy.
brought to the table financial security and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
You had potential for financial security, love possibility, excitement, sexual attraction. You were extremely funny and intelligent. Like it was a whole lot of things.
I was
the potential for love.
the total package.
Yes, absolutely.
So is Jazz not the total package?
Not for Hillary.
He's funny. He is a business owner.
Measured against the other guy, though, he is all of those things. Plus, he got a secure financial situation right now. Not in the future, not a potential for it, but right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not even talking about them getting married. We're talking about what she finna do right now at this moment. Plus, Jazz clearly has some sort of trauma because he has insecurity about her being able.
He's definitely insecure, so I know that's probably not attractive.
Now she got an issue with having to be there to help him grow up and figure out what love is and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, come on. It's
I
a
mean,
lot.
for me, if I'm able to win you out over an NFL football player, that would give me a boost of confidence.
It should.
It really should.
I would think that it would.
But he wasn't able to handle it.
He couldn't handle it. He's insecure and he just was not ready. And, that could last throughout their whole relationship.
So love is not enough.
Love is great. Love is a great foundation. Love is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But you need other things too. And those things are determined by the individual.
Love and attraction. Let's say that.
Whatever that individual needs. Love is great. Love is a great foundation to have, but you need other things besides love.
If those are the
love changes. And it's a lot of people out here who love folk, and it's the worst relationship in the world, the most toxic shit you could ever come across. But it's love.
Though? Is it love?
They think it is.
It's not, by definition, it's not real love.
Oh my God. What is happening here?
I don't know. I'm just saying the people that are in the toxic relationships, they think that's love, but that's not really love. That is more of what? What would you call it?
It doesn't matter. If they think it's love, then it's the same issue. Because, yeah, you're right. It could be a trauma bond. It could be codependency. It could be a whole lot of other stuff.
There we go.
But if they think it's love, that's what they defining it as, then it's, it's still the same thing.
How important is the financial, the financial comfort right at the very beginning? How important is it on the scale?
Well, clearly for me, it wasn't that important.
I don't really know how to take that response.
You the one talking about the fact that there were people in my ear who had financial security. You didn't. We're here. So clearly that wasn't a driving force for me. But for some people, they might need to consider that. It might need to be more important than others.
Do you regret that decision?
Absolutely not. Are you crazy?
Okay.
Absolutely not. And I'm talking about from this position now where we are and who I am and what I understand marriage to be. But I did not understand that when I was 27 years old, but now I have a different understanding that marriage is mostly a partnership, so you can make a marriage work if you have the idea of what the future looks like and you are both on the same page and you both are building an empire together, and love don't even have to be there yet because I believe that love can develop if there's admiration and respect. If somebody is taking care of you and treating you well and cherishing your commitment and doing better for you than you can do by yourself, I believe love will grow from that, especially if you've ever been together before and something aside from something traumatic happens to make you drift apart.
Right.
When you get back together and maybe be a little bit more comfortable with who you are, love can definitely grow from that. So I don't believe that you can start off. I believe that you can start off with not as much love and it turns into more. I fall more and more in love with you every single day.
Oh.
So I know that it can continue to grow and it will continue to grow. So that makes me believe that if those things are there initially, that love doesn't have to be the only thing present. It can be there. It needs to be there. It sets the foundation. It gives you the root work. Root work is important. It's the root of the marriage. But there are other things, there are other branches on this tree that are necessary as well.
All right.
And they depend on who the individual is. So I can't just sit here and say, you need this. Everybody needs love. Everybody needs financial security. Everybody needs there's not a blanket answer for that. You have to figure out who you are individually and what you need in order to be able to do that. And sometimes love is a third of that, not 100%.
Message. So Love and Life is coming up in just a few days. We have another exciting panel that's lined up. Of course, if you are joining us right now on this podcast, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right. And if you are watching us on YouTube, you know what that is. If you're listening to us on the streaming services, of course, just go to YouTube and look for According to Kaz and Queen. The channel is Brad Kamikaze Franklin. So check that out and you'll be able to see this panel. But we have this panel every year and it's always interesting because we have regular people from the community, all different facets of the love spectrum, from single and dating all the way to divorced. It's complicated. Heterosexual, gay couples as well are part of the panel. And it's always interesting because when you realize that people in the community that you might see on social media or just regular people have some of these crazy stories and some of these crazy issues, it's always wild because you think you're alone and you think some of the stuff that you're going through is unique, but in actuality, there's somebody that you probably work with or pass by or have seen, even admiring their relationship on social media, and then come to find out, the challenges that they have had. And I know every year we definitely have couples, because we've had couples who have fought through infidelity. We've had couples that, divorced and then got back together. We got newlyweds. We've got single people all across the spectrum. And everybody has a set of problems that, they think might be unique to them, but they actually haven't. It's a bunch of challenges.
For me, the beautiful part of Love and Life is that it is an opportunity for conversation. The reason why it started 11 years ago is because there was a breakdown in communication between men and women. And it was necessary for us to have a platform for people to be able to just honestly say who they are, how they got there, and what they learned along the way. Because the point is always it's entertaining, sure, but it's always to educate. So we wanted to set up an opportunity for people to have a conversation and leave that space with knowledge about who they are, how they feel, what's your red flag, what you would have did in this situation. If we got a married couple and you can dissect that situation and figure out what happened with them, then you can figure out, okay, no, I wouldn't do that. No, I wouldn't do that. Or yes, I probably should do it this way. And you'd be surprised to find that a lot of people, like you said, find themselves in situations where they think that this is singular to them. And it's really more common than you would ever imagine. So you might need some outside people who don't know you at all, don't care about your situation, to kind of just talk to it. And so it's a real open, the forum is open. We do have question answer set aside for us to just manage time, but it's a very interpersonal type of conversation.
Yeah.
So the audience is able to get involved with the conversation, and panelists learn, we learn, and the audience learns. So it's just an opportunity to open up communication between men and women, whether it's gay or straight, whatever. It's just to open up communication so we can begin to understand each other a little bit better, and hopefully understand yourself a little bit better. And that's the beautiful part of it for me.
And, we get into these discussions all the time on this podcast if you've been on here. And, you probably hear them again because we talk a lot about what happens in our household and in our marriage. And we tell people all the time, we always give the disclaimer that, we're not, marriage therapists. We don't have a lot of degrees up on the wall. We are not trying to make the statement that, our marriage is any better than anybody else's marriage. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. We don't purport ourselves to be that. In fact, we're very transparent with you guys in talking about the challenges that exist in marriage and a lot of the challenges that we've had in our own marriage. We do this because it's it's an opportunity to open up the lines of communication, which we try to do with this podcast, but also at the same time to get people to understand that it's okay to talk about these problems because there are other people that can learn from them. And, we learn from them every year, even as we have our own challenges, we learn. And then, we tell people already up front, the disclaimer is that, you got to be transparent because the questions are definitely going to warrant you being transparent because we go deep into that. Any particular memories that you think stand out in any of the panel? It's been 11. Like, I didn't realize this is actually about to be 11 years. This is like one of the longest running. It's probably the longest running event that I participate in every year. It's 11 years.
Yeah. So, there are several different, we had a couple one year that ran into a downslide, a married couple that had a downslide. And I remember it was something about the husband was asking the wife to go out of town with him, and she wouldn't go out of town with him, and ultimately I don't know if he cheated or if he put himself in a bad situation. Either way, that was a downturn for their marriage, but they worked it out. What I remember is that the audience was like, why you didn't just go? You should have just went. Why you didn't just go? And she was just like, no, I was not going because he was going to kick it and I had business to handle. They have a business together. And she was like, I was handling the business while he was out there doing that. And I was handling the home while he was out there doing that. So going wasn't an option. Like, he was asking her to go, but if she had gone, she'd be like missing out on her responsibilities, not thinking that if I don't go, he gonna cheat. Or he gonna get himself in some sort of situation. It didn't start right off. It started after several times of her not going, and then he was getting out and having fun at these other places, and she wasn't there to keep him in line, which that shouldn't have been necessary. But they did work that out. I remember that that stood out to me because, they were married. We're married. There are times when you want to do things and I don't want to do things, and I'm like, So, you find your parts in these panel discussions that actually speak to you and that, resonate with you. So now I'm very careful. I'm like, okay, so can I pull myself together and go to this? You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I don't feel like that's something that I could go through, but I'm sure she didn't feel like that either. You never know.
Marriage is a give and take. It's compromise.
Yeah.
You are a team. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. It's not just about adamantly saying that I don't want to go. I mean, and it's cool to express yourself and say that you don't want to go. And I don't have a problem. You'll say that in a minute. But there's also some times when I know deep down inside, especially if I've asked to go to the same thing, I know that there is a part of you on the inside that doesn't want to do it, but you will pull yourself together and get ready and go do it.
Sure.
So it's that compromise that exists. And that's kind of what the panel is about. It's about kind of learning communication. You know what I'm saying? That's what we've had to learn. That's what a lot of people have had to learn. You know, for me, of course, you know, we had, you know, a gentleman on that, you know, well, two actually. The first one is, you know, we had a gentleman on who was on 1 year with his wife and talked about the challenges that he and his wife were having. And then the very next year, he was back on the panel with a new fiance.
Was it the very next year?
Yes. It was the very
wow.
next year. Yes. It's the very next year.
But I found them to be very enlightening because it was very apparent.
It wasn't the next year. It was 2
I don't
years.
think it was the next
2
year.
years. Yeah, it was 2
but
years.
it was very apparent that both of them individually and collectively had done some work on themselves.
Yeah.
So they were really giving some real jewels to the audience about how they got there. I took a lot from that conversation.
Then we've had one single person who was dating who had been on,
She's a
I think,
fave.
3 consecutive years. And, you know, one of those years she was dating. The other 2 years she had just gotten out of relationships. Still hasn't quite found that person yet. I think as of, you know, this recording, this podcast, you know, I don't know if you reached out to that person to be on the panel this year because they're always a favorite. But, you know, interesting enough, 1 year, you know, there was someone there that they were dating and it didn't last very long.
And she told me that they didn't last after that panel because the crowd got on to him so tough.
The panel, it reveals. We've had several people that have had some epiphanies after the panel because sometimes when you talk about things and you say them out in the open, and then you realize that, you know, hey, this is weird. So for that particular person, they were there with their boyfriend at the time, and the questions and the comments from the crowd revealed
some things she needed to consider.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they didn't make it too long.
They didn't make it.
After that. Which is what happens at Love and Life, ladies and gentlemen. But we talk about, again, all spectrums of the dating thing. So if you get an opportunity to, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the event. We're going to try to make it live for you again this year so that you can leave questions and comments so that we can ask them to the panel in real time. And we want you to continue to keep listening to the podcast, keep listening to According to Kaz and Queen, keep following what we're doing. You know, today we talked about, you know, the aspects of love and life this week, you know, which is what we'll do from time to time. We don't always talk about current events. We don't always talk about stuff that's happening and the viral moments that happen in the world, but we want you to keep tuning in because these are conversations that happen between a husband and wife in the privacy of our own home that we share with you guys to laugh and to be introspective, but to open up the lines of communication. So the things that we talk about when we're chilling, we bring them to you guys. And these were some things that we were talking about, you know, this year. So we probably going to go and have another sidebar conversation about this jazz conversation.
Oh yeah, because, we're definitely not done with that.
I'm kind of old school in that respect. I
didn't know you were such a romantic.
I'm not a romantic. Don't call me a romantic.
You're a romantic.
I'm a fucking G.
Love. Ooh,
I'm a G.
Love.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what you sound like.
I'm still play about mine.
It's like roses in the background. Love.
I just feel like love should win. You know, I've never been a guy that
not realistic, but it's beautiful.
You know, I've never been a guy that's been able to impress with material things. It's never been my thing. I've never been a flash and money guy. I've never been a, you know.
So you had to depend on making people fall in love with you.
I had to. You say that as if that's a.
No, I'm just saying it.
You had to dazzle them with your trickery, and you had to get them.
You had to love them.
Yeah, you had to love on them and get them to love you to get them down with you because you didn't have no money.
But you're also a long-term relationship guy.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
I think that's significant to mention.
Yes. All of my relationships have been long-term.
Yeah.
With periods of playerism in between is what I would
Drenched
say.
off in there. Somewhere.
Drenched off in there. We didn't talk about that at all. Maybe we'll save that for another broadcast. It's a
We gonna call that when I don't want to be a player no more.
yeah. It's a sordid history.
Hold on,
in
come on
between.
back, come on back.
We're
You're
not
going
coming
down
back.
that memory
All
lane.
right,
Come on
look
back.
at the time. Look at the time. We tried to cut it down this week, so we can get ready for love and life. We're gonna talk about it. What you what?
That's crazy.
What? You're crazy.
You're crazy.
I love you, but you're crazy. Anyway, this has been According to Kaz Queen, man. As always, I am Kaz.
God, Queen.
I'll let you guys next week. All right.
Black and ball, you a genius.